Hi everyone. How's everybody doing? Welcome to VCTV, which is the Venture Capital TV, and this is from LATOKEN. So VCTV, I've been hosting VCTV since February 2020. We are almost ending 2020, December, a few more days. We started VCTV because we couldn't travel, we couldn't fly, we couldn't meet people, we couldn't attend conferences. Hence, VCTV was born in February 2020 to connect people, speakers, investors, founders, entrepreneurs, so everybody can come together and feel and have the same experience they used to have in person. So that's how VCTV was born in February, and since then we have grown in community, size of community, in terms of investment, in terms of investors, in terms of startups, in terms of founders, and so on and so forth. I mean, we have speakers like yourself who are always coming back because there is a reason behind it, and you're going to find more why. So today I'm going to cover 1 hour session. We're going to cover what happened with the investments in terms of early stage and seed investments in 2020. You can cover all the sectors that you've invested in this year, your current portfolio companies, and we can talk about the ups and downs and everything starting from this year. So today I have 4 speakers to share their insights on early stage and seed investments that was done in 2020. So that's the topic of the day. Before I start introducing my speakers, I would like to just introduce myself for those who are new or just tuning in for the very first time, just like Tushar, who's just joined us today. So my name is Sunny Mohanty. I'm the regional director at LATOKEN, and I'm based here in Singapore. So fantastic. I have Sailesh, Fabio, Anup, Gary, and Tushar, who just joined us for the very first time. I would like to start with the regular speakers who have been on VCTV so that, Tushar, you can get a flavor of what exactly it is. So Sailesh, let's start with you. Start with a short introduction about you, your company, and then we move to Fabio. That's how I see everybody on my Zoom lobby. And then after that we take questions and we end the show after 1 hour. Sailesh, over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Sunny. It was fantastic to be back on VCTV, and I really, look forward to be a part of VCTV panelists. So I think let me introduce myself. This is Shailesh Salvi, representing Xfinity Venture Partners. We are a Bangalore-based early-stage VC, basically focusing purely on enterprise tech and B2B startups. And we have invested into about 20-odd companies till the date. Basically, we are focusing on Indo-US corridor, wherein some of our companies are basically focusing on global markets. And we have been a fantastic journey in 2020, and I'll be more than happy to share the details about the same.
Great start to the session. Thank you, Sailesh, for that short and quick introduction. Next, I have Fabio. Welcome back, Fabio. How are you today?
I'm very well, Sonny. Thanks for having me back to your show. For those who don't know me, a very quick overview of my career. I am by training an economist. I have a PhD in economics from the University of Chicago. I started my career at the International Monetary Fund. Then I moved to the European Central Bank for the launch of the euro. Subsequently, I made the move into the private sector, first in Goldman Sachs, London, and then I went to work for several sovereign institutions, sovereign wealth funds, and other institutions in the Arabian Peninsula, from Qatar to Dubai, and then I finished in Oman, where I was the chief strategy officer and chief economist of the Oman Investment Fund. Last year, I decided to join as partner Golden Eagle Emintad, which is a boutique investment bank based in New York, but with offices in Dubai and Hong Kong. And there, in addition to asset management, I take care of the process of listing innovative companies, startups, mostly technological startups, on the over-the-counter market in New York.
Fantastic. Thank you, Fabio, and welcome back on VCTV. Next, I have Anup. Hi, Anup. Long time no see. Where did you go? Welcome back on VCTV. How are you?
Thank you, Sunny, and hi to my old friends, old partners in crime, Fabio and Gary. Great to see you guys. Yeah, I disappeared for a while. I thought things will get a little bit busy. We were going through a bit of some deals, so been busy at that. So I'll just introduce myself. So hi, everyone. I'm Anup. I'm managing partner at Arias. We are an early stage VC fund based out of India and focused on India as a market. We are sector agnostic. We look for tech and everything. We're associated with some unicorns, Farmi, Ola, Druva, and we hope to create some more. And yes, we're always excited and always high on energy, thanks to our founders.
Fantastic. Yeah, I get to see all your updates, Anup, by the way. Thank you so much. Next, I have Tushar. Hi, Tushar. Welcome to VCTV. Just introduce yourself. Where are you dialing in from? Tushar, you are on mute.
Yeah, hi, Sunny. Thank you so much. I am from right now in Delhi. I'll give you a brief background about myself. I started out as my education company, which grew to 800 students. It was in the IIT entrance sector, and I exited in 2006. But post that, I've worked for companies like Deloitte and Touche, Brand Capital, worked for MTS Systemas India unit, where I raised a lot of debt for the company and was also CFO with a logistics company called Distribution Logistics, which is owned by Guggenheim Partners. In my last 6 years, I've been an investor, hand-holding startups, and also I manage an angel network of around 38 HNIs in India, and we are making investments across sectors. This year has been a bit dull, but we do a lot of consumer, fintech, and edtech.
All right, fantastic. Good to have you on VCTV. I'm sure all our audience are going to have a great time listening to your insights. Thank you. Last but not least, Gary, welcome back. How are you today?
Oh, wow. I'm great. How are you today?
I'm very good. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to be here. So great to see some of my friends and new friends. No, it's great. So my name's Gary Fowler, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've done 16 companies. I live in Silicon Valley. My company is GSD Venture Studios, a premier AI venture studio. I've done 16 companies, 2 unicorns. I always feel like I said, and a partridge in a pear tree. You know what I mean? It must be the Christmas thing.
Yeah. December.
And so I love artificial intelligence. And I'm deeply interested in applying artificial intelligence to be able to solve critical issues around the world. Tomorrow, I have the District Attorney of New York, National Security Council from the White House, hosting a seminar on using facial recognition to be able to find missing kids, starting in the U.S., where there are about 400,000 each year go missing or exploited, and to be able to roll it out around the world. So taking AI technologies to make the world a little bit better place. And we're scanning the world for incredible AI companies from India, from Russia, from China, all over Indonesia, Dubai, to be able to help them come to Silicon Valley, raise money, and build another unicorn.
Fantastic. There you go, founders and entrepreneurs. Gary just summed it up. Thank you. So great. We are all set with introductions. Today's topic is about early stage and seed investments that were done in 2020. So we are going to cover all the sectors and portfolios that you have invested into in year 2020, the ups and downs and everything else. I'm going to start with Shailesh first. Shailesh, welcome back. And as you know, we're going to talk about your investments in 2020. Please take us through the journey. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Sunny. Basically, I think at the start of 2020, I think everybody, got a root shock of so-called COVID or pandemic, and the world came to the standstill. And startups, investors, stakeholders, everybody watching at a gaze, saying that what will be the, next roadmap. Because nobody was very clear when the things will get normalized. And at that time, definitely, the first thing which we consciously, took it forward and took it as a challenge is ensuring that whatever portfolio companies, 20 odd portfolio companies we had, we ensured that the runway is, a comfortable runway of at least around 18 to 24 months. And that we've ensured by, either by, doing the bridge round or doing or reopening the, early consummated rounds, or basically by way of even a cost cutting also. So we ensured that each portfolio company has having a sufficient runway, so that when they do the next round of funding, they will be on a much more on a in positive side rather than on a defensive side. So it was quite a bit a rude shock for us in the month of March and April. We were just wondering what is to be done. And the first thing what we've done is, we sat across with each and every founder. We basically chalked down the strategy. What will be the, going forward should be the roadmap. There are some, startups, they've experienced the churn of some of the customers, which are, related to hospitality or travel and, things like that. So and even fashion and retail or something like that, which was pandemically affected quite a bit significantly. And we took a conscious call is basically, we need to, close work. We need to work closely with the customers, ensure them that, okay, we are there at all times. And that's basically has played out very well in the long run going forward. Because what has happened is, as a result of this pandemic, most of the enterprises and the corporates have basically gone for digitization and automation at a full speed. And as a result of that, I would say most of these corporates and enterprises, they went for, I would say, automating their workflows, which in turn reduces the operating cost. And that has created a quite a bit, I would say, very strong tailwind for some of our portfolio companies. And to give you an example, let's say one of our companies into agritech doing the food inspection through computer vision. So when during the lockdown, when all the manual inspectors, they couldn't come on the work for the food inspection. Definitely, the company got a, I would say the more and more customer orders during that period of starting from April to June. And it has signed up almost a lifetime high of almost around 40 to 50 customers during that 3 months. So I would say it was net at the end of the day. At the end of the tunnel, I would say that probably, I think at the hindsight, we feel that, okay, it was a rude shock for everybody. But I would say on a brighter note, it has helped enterprises to move very fast on automation and digitization, and which in turn help some of the startups, because startups are the only, I would say, the stakeholder in this particular segment, which are basically working on the innovation. And that innovation has really, I would say, fructified at a very handsomely. And to tell you frankly, I would say about 7 of our startups has raised the next round of funding at a very healthy multiple also. Wow. So I would say net, I would say startups have gone through the, I would say, the very, I would say very testing time. But at the end of the day, they come up as I would say, ultimate winners, I would say.
Right. I'm sure. 7 portfolio companies this year. Amazing. Thank you, Shailesh, for sharing those opening remarks. Next, I have Anup. Anup, please share your opening remarks of, spanning 2020.
So 2020 has been really a year of lots happening around you, which you had very little control. So it started off with complete loss of control, and you didn't know what was going to be the next step. So you were waiting and watching. I would say that was the first quarter, April, May, June. And then after that, you started to get a moderate sense of control by inventing new practices like using video conferencing, which is what we are doing still right now, and we become pretty good at it. I would say everybody is now an expert on using video conferencing software all over the world, irrespective of age groups. And then we finally started to conduct some business. And I think the geopolitics of it and a whole lot of positive movements in terms of governments providing stimuli that also lifted up the public market sentiments, and markets started to come back, private markets started to come back, investor sentiment started to come back. Founders which were initially thinking of starting up and which were hesitating at the beginning of the year, as the pandemic started, they started to come back. And yes, we saw them a lot in some of the sectors which were positively impacted by COVID forever, which is, education, healthcare, B2B SaaS. We saw that happening in, even in agriculture in India. So some of these sectors have just taken off, and which means great. I think what we have achieved in these last 6 months on every front in terms of digital adoption, I think is the single biggest takeaway. It couldn't have happened in the last 3 years. If we were at it, we would have been so slow. But now everybody's just leapfrogged, which is excellent for the tech economy. So we're going to see many more tech stocks up there on the stock markets all over the world.
Yeah, very rightly said, leapfrogged for sure. Next, I have Fabio. Fabio, over to you.
2020 certainly will be remembered as a year of deep changes. Like all emergencies or catastrophes, war, this pandemic will accelerate certain process and will lead to the rethinking of several, acquired truth, acquired certainties. In terms of the boost to tech and the tech sector, there are obviously areas in which the pandemic has made monumental change, and the two speakers, those who spoke before me, clearly pointed out. However, I would like to add two issues. In Europe, which has been slow to jump on the innovation train, there is a big rethinking on the strategy, on the amount of money channeled to innovation, and there is a drive through the next generation EU to fund these new sectors, in particular the green technologies, the renewables, but also the digitalization, say, of the public administration or civil service, and the infrastructure, the network infrastructure, which in Europe leave much to be desired. On the negative side, I would say, though, a lot of the 2020 has been disastrous for many companies in the initial stage, which has seen their business plan disrupted by the pandemics and their balance sheet severely hit by the lack of new businesses, by the crisis and all the disruption that we have experienced. So in order for these companies to survive, they had to make a lot of efforts. Many of them have been critically injured in the process. So we'll see in 2021 how we will assess the damage in 2010-21, and in the meantime a lot of listing or capital raise have been put on hold because investors want to see how well or how badly these startups did during 2020, and if they're worth if their business plan is still worth financing. So it's a picture with a lot of positives, but also some dark clouds on the horizon.
Some clouds on the horizon. Thank you so much, Fabio. Next, I'd like to go to Tushar. Please share your opening remarks for the topic today. You're mute.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So I would like to see this whole COVID scenario from the point of view of the global economy experiencing three global crises. The first was the dot-com bust. And then in 2007 and 8, the housing and financial meltdown. And now the coronavirus pandemic. So each crisis was different, but there were some common characteristics. The 2001 dot-com bust was preceded by superinflated dot-com prices, financial over-engineering that disguised the risk in housing assets. Uh, with each crisis, the march of technology has accelerated, and things have to be delivered at the places where a customer resides. They have to be delivered fast. Services have to be super efficient. There has to be minimalistic time overruns. The time matters to each customer, and the scope for any mismatches or failures is constricted. So I feel that big companies like FANGs have gotten bigger. There has been a flight towards safety, if I may put it that way, as the financial in our financial jugglery, we say that dollar goes to the US whenever there is a global crisis. So I'm taking a term from there. So there has been a flight to safety towards big tech companies, and from the point of view of a bottom-up approach, I've seen startups which have been coming to me adopting technology even faster. So I absolutely agree with some of the panelists here that what a regular economy couldn't do, COVID has done. So even in conservative institutions, to give an example on the education space, I've seen adoption of technology. There has been adoption of technology in agriculture, and a lot of adoption of technology across sectors. So this is what I feel about the coronavirus this year, 2020.
Yeah, the pandemic has created a lot of acceleration digitally.
Right.
Thank you so much, Tushar. Last but not least, Gary, would like to know your opening remarks for the topic today.
Yeah, I mean, so 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago, when I was one of the first Zoom users, and I met the VCs that funded Eric and Zoom, people were laughing. And oh, why are we going to need this? We got Skype, we got Google, we got all these Viber. But look at today. I mean, I just actually communicated with him a few weeks ago, and I checked. He's worth almost $20 billion today. So we have digitally transformed. And remember one thing: when Warren Buffett says move in the opposite direction, right? Move in the opposite direction. So this is one of the greatest opportunities because we've finally democratized opportunities. Remember, intellectual capacity is equally spread, but opportunities aren't. Now, with being able to, through this digital transformation, we've been really to be able to fundamentally change the way the world works, right? And expedite. McKinsey said almost a year ago that 92% of the companies were going to go through the digital transformation in the next 10 years. Well, that digital transformation was moved up because of necessity. I can tell you directly, I have a unicorn called Eva that I started 4.5 years ago. It's close to $1 billion today. But my business and my company was up 38 times at the beginning of the pandemic. We do remote workforce management, artificial intelligence. So there's a great opportunity. And what has happened, Salish was right on target. I mean, people did get stunned, but that's human behavior. We got stunned during the beginning of this because people weren't sure what to do. They couldn't get, we joke about toilet paper, the simple things, keep it simple, stupid. And
Yeah.
people laugh now, but I'll tell you what, then people were thinking about, what am I going to do? Those magazines look a lot better now. It's like kind of funny. Back to the old days, the Sears catalog was for a reason.
Yeah.
But, so we understand on one sense, how, as strong as we are technologically, how many weaknesses we had. And that happened because of the supply chain, right? From the beginning to the end of the supply chain. So we have a fundamental, unbelievable opportunity to be able to mine startups from around the world. I was in the beginning here with VCTV with Kyle when this first launch was February, March timeframe, and on the first shows actually. And look at where we are today. We've now got the capability to be able to communicate. It's much different than I was involved in the dot-com bubble. By the way, I was one of the few companies that did an IPO in NASDAQ. So with Click Software, that company, people said it couldn't be done then. They were saying, oh, don't do it, conserve cash, blah, blah, blah. We knew if we didn't do it, we calculated we run out of cash. We did an IPO, wasn't huge, but we sold the company. The company was sold, and I was on the original team of it, for $1.35 billion 17 months ago. So, part of it is buckling down. I'm a country boy from Pennsylvania. We're pretty simple, right? I don't have these IIT and Stanford and all this. I'm just a country boy trying to make a living. But I can tell you the simple things is that, you got to focus. You got to be tenacious. You got to have a lot of friends as we have here today. And you've got to understand the world is going to change. Just like in 1918, after the pandemic, it changed. And the good news is, because of so I don't know how many people know this, just one fact. People say, well, Pfizer developed this incredible vaccine. It's 95% effective. What they don't know, and I was on one of the expert panels for pharmaceutical companies, is that a lot of their work was done on Watson. So they used AI to be able to do the modeling rather than using bench time. And if you look at yesterday, the report that I commented on, was part of, came out yesterday with pharmaceutical companies in Europe. I'm telling you, there's a fundamental change happening, and each one of the investors here, don't move in the wrong direction. Go out, get it, because this is the opportunity. This will not happen again. People are scared, and allowed. I mean, 2 days ago, the CEO of Intel wrote me a note. It would not have happened a year ago. Let me tell you that.
Yeah. Absolutely, Gary. I really like the way the practical experiences that we faced with toilet paper, supply chain issues, very rightly put the beginning
And
of the
you
year.
smile every time I say it, because we know everybody on this call had the same problem, asking their significant other, do you think we're going to be able to get some toilet paper?
Yeah, sure. Yes, of course. Thank you, Gary, for sharing those insights with us. Fantastic. We're right on time, 30 minutes into the session. So the next 30 minutes or 20 minutes, I like to get you a little bit deeper dive into your portfolios, something that stood out this year, because we are not going to cover any particular sector, is sector agnostic here, technology agnostic here. Deep dive into one particular sector, because we have startups from entrepreneurs from all around who are looking to get funded. They're looking to connect with you guys. So I like to start with Shailesh first. Shailesh, you have put yourself on mute.
Thanks, Sunny. So as I mentioned in my opening remark, I think with the kind of thrust enterprises has put on automation and digitization, some of our startups has got a huge amount of traction. And in fact, they book, I would say, about lifetime high in their, revenues during the quarter ending June and September. So the startups in the, I will just, I would say drill down some of the areas or verticals wherein these startups are working. So the startups in cybersecurity, so typically, at a device level or at network level, because now everybody is working from home and that too on unsecured network. So
Yeah.
those startups has got a tremendous push from their customers to sign off as quickly as possible. And I would say now, during this pandemic, even the, the disaster recovery centers of most of the enterprises were not physically, could not be physically, I would say, occupied. So in that particular, one of our portfolio company has come out with a hybrid cloud solution, which is basically, you can say, a virtual data center. So that can be, so that has got a very good traction from some of the enterprises customers. Then another, I would say, area, I would say one of our company is focusing through AR and VR, that is augmented reality and virtual reality, is collaborative workflows. So that particular company, which is, let's say, if you are into aircraft maintenance, or if you are, into, I would say, a much more assignment wherein more than, I would say, 2 or 3 business units need to be worked together. So that can be worked very seamlessly through AR and VR solution and mixed reality solution. So that company, in fact, has signed up, I would say, almost, I would say, 10 customers in the month of, only in the month of April. So that has been I would say, a fantastic experience, and we got surprised with the kind of traction. Another area I would say, I would say, apart from health tech and ed tech, yeah, both these sectors has been at the forefront of, each and every investor. But apart from that, we also got, a good amount of traction in digital advertising and performance marketing. Because a lot of enterprises have basically shifted their offline, advertising and marketing budgets to the online and digital marketing. So that particular area where, in fact, we got a fantastic, I would say, traction from most of our BFSI customers. And the last and not the least is when it comes to, COVID, a lot of people have shifted from share mobility, that is from Uber and Ola, to their personal mobility. And, in cities, driving experience is pathetic, especially in Bangalore. If you would come, the driving experience is pathetic. At Mumbai and Delhi is good. So any solution which is basically aiding, the ADAS, basically the automated driving solution. So that has one of our company, which is, doing the edge computing and filtering the data into the centralized data center, which enable the ADAS. That has got a, I would say, a big order from, I would say, a Toyota. So, so that particular, traction was out of box for us, that kind of a thing. So, going forward, we foresee that this trend will continue. In fact, we don't foresee that when things get normalized, this trend is going to discontinue. No, we foresee that the trend will continue, and there will be new and new areas which would be emerging out of this COVID. And as we say that every, I would say, calamity brings the unique opportunities also along with that. So we feel that going forward, something into, a 5G is going to be I would say, a next big thing in India, where the communication will be playing, anything related to communication technology will play a major role. Similarly, I would say something on, I would say, contactless surveillance, because now most of the people are working from home. So something related to contactless surveillance, which is basically catering to, purchases in, I would say, cashier free, shops like Amazon Go, or something like attendance, or something like virtual meeting rooms. So that kind of I would say, solution would be I would say, a next big thing which we foresee. Then, of course, as some of my co-panelists have shared, that agriculture technology is going to be big, because most of the average age in agricultural in US also it's more than 60. In India also is almost more than 50. So we need more and more technology enableness in agriculture, because we can't continue with the same workforce. So anything related to, let's say a drone base or satellite base kind of aiding technology, that would definitely be a deciding, I would say, a game changer in agriculture also.
Right. Great. Thank you, Shailesh, for sharing those insights. I would say very good stuff has happened in 2020 besides the pandemic for you. Thank you so much. Tushar, over to you. You may just want to sort of zoom in into a particular startup or a successful case for our audience, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to give 2-3 sectors here and specific startups. So I'm working with this startup very closely. The startup is based out of Gurgaon. So a lot of these disinfection services have been required using contactless methods. So instead of sending a human being using PPE kits, we have these disinfection companies which are using robots, and these robots, the leader is Germ Falcon. Germ Falcon's disinfection robots cost 70,000 US dollars and upwards. This company in Gurgaon has created 4 types of robots. One is for disinfection services. They have an exactly similar kind of robo as to Germ Falcon, but their robos start at $11,000. So you can imagine 11,000 versus $70,000. Secondly, we have manual scavenging in the municipal corporations, which is a very in today's day and age, it is not done that there should be manual scavenging. So Supreme Court has stopped manual scavenging. So this company has come out with robotic scavenging. Their robots can clean municipal areas, and the robo is very efficient at that. And it's a very cheap robo, but it has all the features and it can be customized. Similarly, for like food delivery, if you go to Vistara Airlines lounge at Delhi airport, you'll see their robo. It can deliver the food using an app. Similarly, for education, they have a robo with all the features. I'm also working very closely with a company which has created it's a program and an app which can enable you to play on the stock markets virtually, but not by not actually betting on the stock markets. It's like a dream 11 for stock markets. And if you look at Zerodha and the other apps, they don't have this feature. So a lot of people actually want to experiment in stock markets before they take a plunge. And this app is actually linked to all the backend apps like Zerodha, and it can actually give you live trading also. Then, there are a lot of government compliances, other compliances. People don't want to go to government offices because of COVID. So regulation tech is the new field which has emerged. So I'm working very closely with the company which enables corporates and individuals to meet government and other compliances by sitting on their desk and through their app. And last but not the least, I would just like to take a little bit of more time to come on another startup. So we have seen that children's nervous energy is not coming out because they are sitting at home because of COVID. They're really bothered about what's happening out there. They're not able to release their energies. So apart from physical fitness, we have this very nice edtech which focuses on mental health for children, and they do it via a very proprietary technology. So this is the emerging exciting areas which I see.
Very exciting. The robo stuff that you started off with, for the enterprises, with the price reduction, for delivery and reg tech, and this and mental wellness for kids. I mean, we haven't spoken about. We generally speak about mental wellness, and it is mostly adults that we speak about. But again, very good. I would say subject that you've touched upon. Mental wellness for children is equally important as much as it is for adults. Thank you, Tushar, for sharing those great insights with us. Anup, I would like you to share your sort of, whatever successful investments that you've done this year that just stood out, you just surprised you, in a good way.
Sure, of course, of course. Sunny, I think it is a foregone conclusion that the winner this year is clearly EdTech and health tech. And this will go down as the year when these two sectors got a very, very impressive fillip, which they otherwise wouldn't have gotten, simply because there are so many stakeholders in the system who I may say, or I may dare to say, were refusing to change, right? In the health sector, it is the patient who is affected. They want a health outcome that is positive, and they simply have no choice but to go to various service providers. And it's a completely fractured ecosystem. Nobody talks to anybody, right? So doctors, diagnostics, pharmacies, everything is completely disparate, and they have to manage their own journey somehow and get a positive outcome at the end of it. This year, we saw doctors and hospitals realize that they were empty, and maybe people are falling less sick outside of COVID, of course, because they were simply at their home. They weren't getting the usual infections. There was not so many accidents out there, things like that. And the doctors, in order to remain liquid, they had to approach consumers. So here comes in telehealth, and we saw in the U.S. a very big buyout of Livongo and Teladoc, a multi-billion-dollar sort of merger between two greats. So digital health and telehealth really took off. And for us, PharmEasy, which was our first investment in the healthcare space many years ago, crossed the bridge of being a unicorn. There's consolidation going on with Amazon wanting to enter with a 100 million round in a company, and the whole sector has got completely organized now. So winners have come out, and the dust is beginning to settle. So we're seeing that consumers are adopting big changes when it comes to their health, whether it is purchasing products or purchasing services. And all the erstwhile reticent participants in the ecosystem are now participating because they simply have no choice. But once they've exercised these choices, they're pretty happy with it because, they've got SaaS solutions for doctors, which are working for doctors because they've changed their habits in the last 6 months. There's telehealth, so they are happy to give advice and prognosis based video consultations where clinical examination is not required. So I think these are big leaps. Another sphere that we have seen is in the area of direct-to-consumer brands. So while overall, consumers were consuming more of what they consumed at home because they weren't simply going to office. So all 3 meals of the day, plus your coffees and everything else was happening at home. So naturally, everything was directed at home. But the era of direct-to-consumer brands has now kicked off, at least in this part of the world. Consumers are examining more narrowly and more strictly what they're eating. So there's a rub-off from the health concern aspect. There is a concern about nutrition. There is a concern about what I should be consuming, which boosts my immunity, right? And this is now, which is a trend which is going to stay forever. So the back label of every product that you pick off the shelf is more important than the front one, right? And people have started to read that and form their opinions, basis communities, references, and ingredients. And that is why direct-to-consumer brands are now taking off, where consumers are demanding higher purity, higher lack of baddies, if I may call it, and greater nutrition. And we saw one of our companies, Country Delight, really grow leaps and bounds without much marketing. And they had an exclusive pipe to consumers' home. They launched new product lines like eggs and eggs and bread. And they've actually become a household brand in these top 4 cities. So I think that's something to learn. I think in sectors which were adversely impacted, I think the other panelists have spoken about that. Yeah.
Okay, great, Anup. I totally agree. Health tech, ed tech, and nutrition have just topped the charts for this year. And rightly said, I was just thinking, probably people think that during COVID, the hospitals and doctors will be liquid, as you said, but they were not. Like, you have less cases, as you rightly said, no accidents and other infections. So yeah, very rightly put, Anup. Thank you for sharing those insights with us. Next, I have Fabio. Fabio, over to you.
Thanks, Sunny. I like to point in another direction, which is often overlooked in when we talk about innovation, startups, and the like, and it's manufacturing. For example, one of the great successes that I've witnessed is Centrica, which is the major producer of electric motorcycles. So I'm a motorcycle fan. I've been riding since I was like 12.
Okay.
And I still own motorcycles. And these electric motorcycles are really incredible in terms of performance, speed, acceleration, and everything. And so this is potentially option in the two wheels world, which needs to be assessed and needs to be, it's has been already a success, but has the potential to really introduce the a long-lasting innovation
Right.
in the sector. In addition, what and more generally, I've been at a company that is called, I've been assisting a company that is called the Polytronica. And in a nutshell, they are doing in manufacturing what has been done in other sectors thanks to internet. The very first stage of internet was the sharing and transmission of information. Right? We all know
Right.
that. The second wave, which is hinging on cryptocurrencies, is the transfer
Yeah.
of value. Okay?
Right.
The third wave could be the transfer of manufacturing capacity through 3D technologies and other elements such as the Internet of Things. So you will be able, for example, to design a tool or whatever and have it manufactured everywhere in the world where you want it, when you want it, to manufacture next to your client because you will have capacity there. So we are deeply involved in this disruption, and Polytronic has been one of the companies that we found more exciting in this sphere. And then to complete the picture, I want to mention a niche, which is micro laser. So there is a technology which hinges on laser with a diameter of 1 micron, so 1 millionth of a meter, and this is technology that allows to manipulate the most minute aspect of material and objects, and has been proven extremely useful in a number of applications, from biotech to electronics.
Right. Great. Thank you, Fabio. And good to know that you've been driving electric bikes since such a young age. Good to know that. Thank you so much.
Not electric. These the
Oh.
bikes I was driving at a young age were traditional bike, and I still do
Okay.
ride the traditional bike.
Okay, cool. No
traditional
worries.
bike.
Thank you so much for sharing those
I'm
insights.
moving, into old age into the.
Right. Got you. Got you. Thank you. Gary, over to you. Any particular technology or any particular startup of yours that would like to share with our audience?
Yeah. I mean, it's, again, it's a keep it simple, stupid time. So the amount of data, as I talk about a lot, around us is dramatically increasing every year. So the amount of data that's present on the planet today, if you
Yeah.
took CDs, DVDs, and stacked them up, it would go 29 times back and forth to the moon. So then that a number grows 62% a year. So I'm focused on artificial intelligence. So one of the examples of my company, I have a company that is from Minsk, Belarus. Company's called IREX, and IREX is a great company. The double PhD, uh, Cambridge, double PhD, lives in Minsk. Anyhow, so we've gone through all these challenges with COVID. It's a security company looking using facial recognition. So in the beginning of the crisis, we focused on COVID, thermal detection, being able to assess who's coming in the building, to be able to take their temperature, should they be admitted or not, should somebody be alerted that they're coming or not. Anyhow, then the entire movement against racial profiling took place, and they were saying, well, you can't do that anymore. And so some of the political dimensions behind it. In the interim, we got about $124 million worth of contracts, right? So
Wow.
5 years, over a 5-year period of time. And what I did with the company, I'm the CEO of the company now. Anyhow, what I did is I pivoted the company. I pivoted and I looked at what kind of problems are on the planet Earth that we can solve that'll make a dramatic difference from my perspective. And instead of the negative feelings, a good feeling. So I pivoted to go down through and work with finding missing and exploited children around the world.
Yeah.
So I got the FBI, Homeland Security of the United States, the District Attorney of New York, the CEO of the National Task Force, and I sent you the invitation. I'm actually doing it tomorrow. And I got them all together and I said, let's solve this problem and turn this, this whole facial recognition thing into something really positive to make a little dent, let's bring her kids home for the holidays. And that's what I did. I went to some of the major retailers around the world and we're working with them today. And I got Intel to sponsor it. I even got a note from the CEO of Intel 2 days ago, Bob
Right.
Swan. So this went from a negative situation. You've got to pivot your companies. The lessons learned are look for where the opportunities are, look where you can make a difference, look where you can make people feel good, and look where, when that happens, there's opportunities and success will follow. So figure out with your heart where you can gather emotion and turn that emotion into opportunities. And I'm really happy because we're making a dent in the universe. But literally all my companies, I have a health tech company too, started at Stanford University that I co-founded. That company got started in doing remote patient monitoring. That company has gone, Zemply is that company. And we gone from scratch and now with this whole COVID situation, it's a big deal. You don't want to put your parents in a nursing home because you don't want them to die. It's pretty simple. So I said, well, geez, you live longer if you're at home. And I'm a clinical psychologist. I went to graduate school for psychology too. And I said, well, geez, what if we turn that into having people stay home? I had my father, he lived 3 years. They said he was going to die in 7 days. He lived 3 additional years. And I got to spend time with him. So I said, why don't we do that with this company? The net is there are opportunities out there. Don't look for the negative, look for the positive. Look where you can make a difference. It's never easy. I've been doing startups for 35 years. It's never been easy. But if you look at it in the right way, it can be a lot of fun. And that's it. And money does follow. Happiness is the most important thing. You make people happy and feel good, all of a sudden things start to follow your way. And I could tell you, many, many examples. I've got 16 companies right now.
Thank you, Gary. Money does follow, but you have to make people happy. I 100% agree to that. And very good to know about pivoting from a facial recognition company to finding. I see your articles on social media. I'm really, really wowed and impressed finding missing children and bring them back home for the Christmas. Such a great cause.
Sonny, so we pivoted the company. I have
Yeah.
500 people attending my event tomorrow. And, I feel so good Intel had said at one point, you know, the facial recognition, they weren't into it, but we're helping kids, right?
Yeah.
One kid comes home for the holidays, it makes a difference, right? One
It does.
kid. There are
It does.
400,000 kids every year that go missing just in the United States alone, and estimated 2 million worldwide. It's probably more, but we know there's 400,000 just in the US.
Wow, 400,000 just in the US, missing children. It's a great thing, Gary, you're doing, and I'll definitely. I know I've seen the article. I'm definitely going to be there.
Yeah,
Watching
yeah,
your show.
share it. I mean, do me a favor. I sent you here, share it, because we want to get as many people. I mean, this is a good feeling. And now we've got even a person who was in the White House, National Security Council, to be able to get on board with this thing. And it's not just a US phenomenon. I mean, we want to make a
Yeah.
dent in the universe everywhere. So anyhow, that's
Absolutely.
my passion.
Fantastic. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Shailesh, Fabio, Tushar, Anup, with your insights today. So we finally come to the end
Thank
of the
you.
show. I'd like to take two things from you. Closing remarks for the topic today. And I just want to know, what are the best VCTV moments for you in 2020 so far? Shailesh, you've been on VCTV on numerous sessions. I'm guessing with me and Kyle as well. I just would like to know your closing remarks and the best moments in 2020.
Sure. Thanks, Sunny. It has been a fantastic to be a part of VCTV community, and I really thanks VCTV for basically having a panel discussion on the startup economy. And basically, I look forward for to be a part of this particular community going forward also. And when it comes to our best moment in 2020, I think probably one of our company which was struggling at the start of the, I would say, this pandemic. And we were literally very, stretched out for that particular company to survive. It has turned around, and definitely as of today, in fact, it has, backed the, I would say, Series B funding at a multiple of, I would say, almost close to around 20x.
Wow, Series B 20x. Amazing. Thank you so much, Shailesh. And we're going to have you back on our shows. We are not stopping this month. We're going to continue, and obviously next year as well. I know also because of this interim break that you took, but before that, you were always there with me and Kyle as well. So what's your best VCTV moments?
So I think the best moments have been when you've got a very rich and diverse panel, which has been each time, but basically giving all their insights and brimming with optimism for the future, despite the fact that we had no idea when we were going to get out of this 12-inch screen in front of us. And that's what kept us going, really speaking. So I think I thank all the you guys as the moderators, certainly you and Kyle, but of course all the co-panelists. We kept the energy going, and that's the special thing about it. We learned new things. I learned so many new things through LATOKEN. So all of those have been highlights, courtesy all the panelists, and we were placed in the same situation all around the world. I think in some ways it was just incredible, right? Nowhere has the entire world been sort of placed in a similar position that we're all doing the same thing at the same time, all have the same constraints of no travel, and have to exchange our point of view, do business, help our companies. Our concerns became common, solutions became common. I think for me was quite magical in its own way.
Thank you so much, Anup. Very rightly said, and touched my heart by saying that, because I met, not only I've learned so many things, I've met so many good people, that these are like lifelong sort of contacts that I foresee. Thank you so much, Anu, for those words. Fabio, what's your best VCTV moments?
You see, Sonny, it's always hard to make to classify best, bad, good, because I find that all the moments are in their own way important, great, and interesting. But if you really push me, I think that we just witnessed one of the best moments when Gary told us about this artificial intelligence applied to the search for missing children. I think this is a really incredible advance. And so having learned about it, and I hope that it can be applied, even I will help Gary to see if it can be applied elsewhere in outside the US. But in general, I think this is for me
so much.
one of the best moments
Yes.
on VCTV.
Yeah, and who would have thought somebody can pivot from a facial recognition company to doing something such great thing for for a good cause. Thank you so much, Fabio, for sharing those. Tushar, this is your first day on VCTV. Please share your
Yeah, first time.
Experience.
No, I was deeply touched by what Gary said about the facial recognition part, and
Yeah.
it really moves me when someone with the power to do a lot does it for the benefit of humanity all the time, and it's been my pleasure and my to be a part of such a panel with the esteemed panelists and you, Sunny, as well, and I really look forward to appearing more times and being a part of this immensely exciting initiative.
Thank you, Tushar. And of course, we're going to have you back on VCTV. Thank you
you.
so much for sharing those moments. Last but not least, Gary, over to you. I mean, Gary's been on all the shows. Literally, I think he said 100 shows so far, or more than that.
No, I think a couple of hundred, actually, a few hundred.
Couple of hundred.
So, I mean, look at what we've been able to do when we came into this pandemic. The closeness, the bonds that we all share together. We didn't have those, and the one thing that's happened, and thanks to Zoom, thanks to VCTV, thanks to you, Sunny, Fabio, Tushar, Shalish, everybody that's on the panel today with us, Anup. I mean, this is a great opportunity. It's like VC therapy sessions, and you have them every day, and it's like you come in here and you share ideas. You get, I met so many incredible people. So I'll just give you some, for instances. I met one of the top astronauts, is Christopher Altman, and Christopher is a NASA astronaut. I met him here. He's a PhD quantum physicist working on the teleportation of quantum particles. You can see him. I mean, this guy's incredibly famous. I met Richard Branson's partner. I have another call with him on Friday to get Branson on my show. I mean, I can tell you some of the richest people on the planet have been on the panels, and not many people don't know it. But I follow up with everybody because I'm just curious. I love people and I want to get to know them, and so it's really helped in a lot of ways, in incredible ways. But this is what the future is. The future is to use the technology to maybe make your own dent in the universe. And this kind of a platform, this kind of medium is the way the future is going to be. The COVID situation is at a peak right now, right? In the US, I mean, we're at record levels. It's a tragedy, and we need to adjust. We are now highly efficient and highly effective using the tools in front of us. We need to keep using those tools. On one side of the COVID's been really bad. On the other side, it's brought families together. It's brought people together in ways that they hadn't done. I mean, people are buying more bikes now than they have bought in the last 20 years because the simple pleasures, right? It's like the air and simple pleasures. So it's been a great time. But one thing is keep a positive aspect on your life, believe in those dreams, visualize where you want to go. And if you're a startup, it's not easy. It's never, ever easy to do it. But the thing is, if you keep a positive attitude, you can get through it. And as my company is called GSD, which is Get Shit Done Venture Studios. And that's what it's all about.
Thank you for this therapy session. I really liked it. VC therapy sessions, VCTV. Thank you, Gary, so much for those closing remarks. Thank you, Anup, Tushar, Salesh, and Fabio. So we finally end of the show, and I would love to see you back on another panel on another topic and get some real good insights throughout this year. I mean, we just have a few more days. Thank you for staying with us, and audience, thank you for watching us. And again, startups and entrepreneurs who like to meet this great minds, always feel free to reach out to me, and you get an opportunity to share the space with them. Having said that, have a great day, have a great evening, and stay safe, stay connected. And I'm going to catch you back on another session. Thank you. Bye.